Hello, Michael, can you hear me? Oh, Michael, can you hear me? I don't know if they can. I tested this thing. It seems like it's on, but I asked somebody if they could hear me. They didn't know.
Is that the microphone?
Yeah.
Do they say no one can hear you? Hello?
Yeah, I tested it. It said it's working.
Ask Michael if he can hear you.
Michael, can you hear me? He's not
Can
responding.
hear you, Bhante. Yeah, I can hear you, Bhante.
You can hear me.
She can. Okay, so maybe
Okay.
Michael's not tuning in. Just want to
Okay, I can hear you, Bhante.
Okay,
excellent.
thank you.
So make sure that you're spotlighted because one of the videos it wasn't.
Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening.
Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening. Academica.
You get all the reports, he's coming back.
There's too much light on there.
Bhante, I can't hear you.
Well, everybody else can. I think, Michael, you have something probably wrong with your computer.
I can't hear you, Bhante.
But other people can hear me.
Put in the chat.
It's too bright.
Oh, hold on.
I know. It's not because of light though. Let me see.
I can hear you now. Okay.
You can? Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
It's too white. Gotta get darker. Don't move that camera. It's crooked.
Yeah, I don't know why it's washed out a little bit. Should adjust automatically.
Better.
Changes we go. Okay. And Aya's taking a break because she got her vaccine, I guess.
Bhante, it's deeper and you look like a light bulb. It's so bright.
Yeah, we can't figure out why the reason for that is. The light in here is not very bright.
I have an idea.
I got my tech person
Yeah,
here.
tech person.
Check it out.
Let's see here. It's the opposite direction. Yeah, that's the best we can do. It's better.
Is it still like that?
That's the best adjustment we can do, unfortunately.
It looks better to me.
It's going to, shortly, it's going to be dark.
Well, I pulled the curtains on behind the Buddha, otherwise it would have been. it'd be much more bright with the sun coming in that window.
You're gonna, are you recording now on the YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah. 18.
Okay, friends, I'll go ahead and start with the Namo Tassa, the three refuges, for those who'd like to join. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. So welcome, friends, to this Wednesday evening Dhamma discussion and meditation practice. I hope you're all able to receive the mailing I sent out on Monday with the attachment with the three short suttas that was in that attachment. You had time to perhaps read them. So these are, again, they're about, how do we train our mind not to get carried away by our sense perceptions into unnecessary, useless, or unnecessary, thoughts, worries, anxieties, and so on. So this first sutta, I'm going to go over, whereas it's a conversation between two monks, the Venerable Kottika and the Venerable Sariputta. And so Venerable Kotika, after his evening meditation, came to this Sariputta and then asked him some questions. And he said, "How is it, friend Sariputta, is the eye the bond of visual objects, or are visual objects the bond of the eye?" And Sariputta's reply was, "Not so, friend. These are not the bond of each other, but it's that desire, that lust, that infatuation, that grasping or aversion, which arises owing to the coming together of the sense organ and the objects, the external objects. It's the grasping that is the bond between these two." And so he gives a very nice little analogy. Of course, a lot of Westerners, you'll have to use your imagination because you probably haven't experienced personally this scenario. So he says, suppose, friend, there was two oxen, one a white ox and one a black one, and they are tied by one rope or one yoke. They are tied together, so they can't, they have to walk next to each other. Would it be right to say that the white ox is the bond for the black ox, or that the black ox is the bond for the white one? And the reply was, surely not. It is not that way. But the rope of the yoke, which brings the two ox together, which binds the two ox together, that is the bond that unites them. So in this way, friend, so it is with the organs of the sense and their objects. It is the desire and the lust, the hankering and the grasping rooted in the mind, which arises on account of that contact, that form, the bond between the sense organs and their objects, and produces our karmic actions and becoming. If, friend, the sense organs were the bond of their objects, or if the objects were the bond of the sense organs, then this holy life lived for the destruction of suffering, it could not be pronounced. It could not be explained. But since they are not the bond of each other, but it's the desire, lust, infatuation, the greed and the hatred, the grasping which arises in the mind on account of the contact, that is the bond. Therefore, because of this, the righteous life, or the life of Dhamma, practice of the Eightfold Path for the utter destruction of suffering, can be explained. And then Sariputta goes on to tell him, Kotika, the Blessed One, has an eye, an ear, a nose, a tongue, a body, and a mind. But in him there is no desire, no lust, infatuation, no greed or hatred or clinging to things of this world. The Blessed One has a heart or mind that is completely free. And so because he experiences that and knows that each person can also reach or attain that state, he proclaims the doctrine for the complete and rightful destruction of suffering. So the meaning of that is, well, it's fairly self-explanatory, but some people think, if they just remove themselves from the contact with the object, or if you put on blindfolds so you can't see anything, or put earplugs in your ears so you can't hear things, that's going to stop the craving. No, it's not. And because the craving arises with the contact of the two. And that craving or aversion, we've been practicing our whole life and accumulating that in the unconscious mind. So it's still there. That desire, and that's where it has to be removed. Okay, again, if any questions arise on any of these things, you can write them down in the chat box. So then the second sutta is about, there is a method. So the Buddha explains the method by following which one, apart from belief or inclination, apart from hearsay, apart from arguments as to what is the right method or the wrong method, apart from reflections or reasons or speculations, that a person could affirm ended his birth, lived is the righteous life, done is the task, and there will be no rebirth in the future. So he's talking about, is there a method by which one can realize this freedom from this, all the desire and the aversions and the attachments that we've accumulated for all the objects of the senses? And he replies, what is that method that one can realize for oneself? Because as some people have asked, how do we know if we're free from greed, hatred, or delusion? That's worse. Okay. I need to read this. I need to light on. So what is the method for understanding that one still has greed, hatred, or delusion? Well, it's quite, obvious. Said, on beholding an object of one of the senses, either you know that there's desire or lust or malice or delusion, so you can sense that there's any attachment or aversion there, and thoughts about those objects, liking or disliking. Or you can recognize that there is no reaction to those objects. And whenever the mind encounters, or the senses encounter an object, that no attachment, desire, or various thoughts get triggered off about that particular object. Now, as to that recognition of their existence or non-existence, is that to be understood by belief? Do you believe that? Or did somebody tell you that your mind has attachment? Or is it by argument or delight and so on? And the monks replied, surely not. Because these states can be directly comprehended and seen with the eye of wisdom. Now, a lot of people like to delude themselves and say, oh, I don't have any desire, but they go ahead and indulge in it anyway. So, people can, create these kind of delusions, and we see it all the time. A person says, No, I'm not angry, but yet they still, exude those type of vibrations. So that's how one can tell, oh, I'm not fully liberated yet. That's where he says, this is the method, monks, by following which, apart from belief, inclination, hearsay, argument, speculation, one could affirm thus ended his birth. For life in these conditions, there is no hereafter. So basically, of course, that attains to the state of the Ara. But as one goes on practicing, little by little, one can see the weakening of former attachments and aversions to certain things. So you start out with, certain things that you gradually lose that the desire or attraction to or aversion. Through the practice of sila, samadhi, and panya, or observing precepts, that helps, and then of course developing your mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. So that is the method. It's called the mirror of the Dhamma. So, but one has to have mindfulness and one has to be honest to oneself. But you can see that the desire or aversion or other states that arise in us when we come into contact, especially with strong types of stimulations, or even subtler ones. So that is the method. The method is following the Eightfold Path and recognizing what within oneself, there is desire in me, or there is no desire, or there is aversion arising now, or there's no aversion rising now. So now there's one more sutta in this sort of trilogy of the sap tree. And so the Buddha says, if in anyone that lust, that lure, that hankering, that infatuation, that ill will or malice which arises in the mind due to any of the 6 objects of the senses, which includes the mind itself, if those states are not abandoned, put away, then whenever trifling objects arise, not to speak of the more strong ones, but even when a trifling object comes into the range of the senses, they overtake the heart. That means they create ripples within our mind. Even just somebody telling you a little word, something that you may not want to hear, you can see that negativity or aversion arises. Even if it's a very small thing, we can see that. And so the Buddha again gives a very nice example of a sap tree. So he says, suppose, monks, there's a sap tree, either a bo tree or a banyan tree or a fig tree or any other young tender tree standing in the forest. And if a man comes by with a sharp axe and cuts into it, wherever he cuts into it, the sap flows out. And he asks the monk, does it not? They reply, yes, sir. And why is that? Because sap is in it. Similarly, that lust or lure, infatuation, ill will, malice, delusion which arises in the mind, if it is not abandoned or put away, and whenever objects coming into the senses stimulate the mind, they overwhelm the heart. But if they are abandoned, put away, then they do not overspread the heart. Just as if that same tree were far gone in years, old, dried up, sapless, past its season, and a man were to cut into it with a sharp axe, would sap flow out? And they say, no, sir. Why? Because all the sap is dried up, has come to naught. Just so in anyone in whom lust and hankering, infatuation, malice, ill will are abandoned, put away, cut off at the roots, cease to arise, then even considerable objects, let alone trifling objects, which come into the domain of the senses, do not overtake and disturb the heart or mind. That, monks, is the end of suffering. So you can see that all those three short suttas are dealing with really the main practice of the Dhamma. I mean, you could say the whole practice of the Dhamma really occurs right there with that contact between what we call the sense bases and the external objects, and then the reaction of the mind, which is the bond, which creates the bond between the objects. And because that's where all of our karma is created, that brings us anxiety, worry, fear, and then of course the consequences of our actions as well. So really, that's really the essence or heart of the practice. People say, well, what about sila? Well, yeah, the sila is one of the ways that we restrain our mind. But it's all coming back to that scenario of the mind reacting to any sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, or thought that comes within the range of the senses. The senses are sort of like radar, right? And whenever any vibration comes within their range, they pick it up, and it sets off a vibration in our nervous system that then rings a little bell in the unconscious mind, so to speak, and then triggers off the reaction. And so that's really, the main practice. All the other teachings of the Buddha, they're for that purpose of weakening that bond between the senses and the external world, but weakening it through mindfulness. So we have to purify the accumulated anusayas, or the accumulated tendencies for greed, hatred, and delusion that trigger off all of our body and mental actions. So really, that is really the essence of the Dhamma practice comes to. Okay, so having said that much, I know we've been speaking about this similar things now for many, many weeks, and that's because that's where the Dhamma is. Anything else that doesn't lead to that is not going to have a whole lot of effect. But everything that you practice, dana, sila, bhavana, all the Eightfold Path, right thought, right views, of course, right understanding, and then right thought, speech, actions, livelihood, right effort, mindfulness, and concentration. These are all aimed at weakening that bond or attraction between the senses and the objects, but weakening it in terms of the accumulated habits that we have. Okay? So let's see if there's anything arise in the chat box. It seems that the body is not the five aggregates, but the senses that attach to the concept of body, feeling, perception, volition, and consciousness that create the five aggregates. And this attachment and desire keeps one in samsara. This attachment has to be eradicated. Is this idea sound? Absolutely. That's what we were just going over. Now, the body is one of the five aggregates because the first aggregate, of course, is the rupa, and that means any material quality. So this flesh and bone body is, the material quality. That means it's made up of the atoms and molecules that give rise to hardness, fluidity, heat, motion, and every physical object, a rock, a tree, a cat, or a dog, this physical body, the dirt on the ground, all those are the material forms, but they trigger off the mental memory of our previous connection with them. So it triggers off the feeling, perception, volition, and consciousness. And so it's the material vibrations, actually, which is the first aggregate. Because without that contact, then the connection to the mind will lie dormant. So if you're reading a book, let's say absorbed in a book, and maybe, there's sounds going on, maybe the neighbors, some sounds outside in your own house, but you may not notice that because that contact, the attention is not there. So that's why it's really the aggregate of the material vibrations. That's why I like to use that term, material vibrations, more for the aggregate of when they say form or body, because when you say body, people are just thinking about this material body. It's not only this material body, but our sense organs are in this material body, but it's also the material vibration of the object that's coming through the material aggregate of this body. So, but yes, it's the concepts, the feeling. It's feeling, perception, volition, and perception is part of the concept. But we get attached to the feeling because if you get a pleasurable feeling, you may not even know what the object is, but you're going to say, "Oh, I want that one." What is that? Tell me what that is. What kind of fruit is that, right? Let's say you experience something for the first time. You may not have had it before, but it's producing a pleasurable feeling. And now you're learning the name of it. And so now you knew what to look for. You know that it's round or red or whatever color, and you go to the supermarket and you ask her to give me that fruit, expecting that to give you a pleasurable feeling. So, the feeling is one thing, the perception, it's connected to that object, of course, but, because if that fruit stops, perhaps you get a rotten or a bad piece of fruit and it actually causes you a painful feeling, right? Then you won't want to eat it. As I've said, many times, it's really the feeling that we want. The objects only transmit the feeling to us or deliver the feeling, but those objects can change and those objects can stop delivering the painful feeling or the pleasant feeling. And so then, therefore, we change our attitude toward the object, such as I mentioned, with the avocado story, right? So, Another question here. The physical body has 5 sense organs as well as 5 action limbs, organs. Does the body aggregate include the action organs as well? Well, yeah, I mean, our hands and feet, the tongue, every atom of the material body is, included in the aggregate of the physical body. It's the mind that's causing our, let's say, our hand to reach out to grab something if you want something, right? It's the mind with desire that it has to tell the arm, actually, hey, you got to lift up, you got to stretch out to grab what you want. So it's all an automatic process. We don't have to really think about, oh, I'm going to move my arm over there, or leg, or eyes, because we've been, through the course of our whole life as a baby. Now, a baby has to gradually learn and do that. But once we get older, it all happens automatically. We don't have to think much about it. Now, if something happens and you break your arm and you get paralyzed, of course, then you can't. Let's say even if you wanted to lift your arm, if you're paralyzed and you can't move, that's because everything is just electromagnetic energies, and if those pathways get cut, you get paralyzed. And so even the desire is still in the mind, but you can't satisfy it without, you have to ask somebody, oh, can you put that up to my mouth, or something else like that. Says Bhante Punaji speaks of experience versus existence. Is this an important distinction to make? Can you explain why? Existence, the way that the Venerable Punaji explains it, now some other teachers might explain it in different ways, but this is the way Bhante Punaji has explained that in those books that I had, suggested some of you to read, is existence is the sense of oneself, that I am existing. And the experience is the pleasant feeling, or the hearing, or the pleasant feeling that arises due to the contact. And it's the ego thinking that it's real, that it exists, that then wants to have that object, or to get away from the object. So the experience is just the sensory experience itself, but the bhava is the sense of the I, and which is existence in that definition that he uses. So it's important to understand that, yes, because it's the ego which is the accumulated, identifies with the accumulated desire and aversion, and which goes on creating more karma over and over and over again. So it's only when that thought of I, me, and mine is weakened that only then you can experience, that the pure experience, or experiencing. I think that's the way that the Venerable Punaji usually is describing this, makes that distinction. There's bhava tanha, craving for existence. That is one of the fetters, bhava tanha or vibhava tanha. That means the two extremes, craving to be annihilated or craving to exist forever. So that is the word that it is translated from the Pali, the bhava, that they translate into English as being existence. There's three kinds of existence: existence in the form realms, the existence in the form, the human realm, the kama loka, and then the form realm, which are the jhanic states, and then the formless realms. Those are the three worlds where existence takes place within the samsara. And so that's why that existence, it means individualized existence. And that's what we go on recreating or strengthening every time we exercise a desire or aversion. We strengthen that existence. And that's why the Buddha, when somebody attains enlightenment, it's not the right to say they exist, or it's not the right to say they don't exist, because it's kind of a gray area in between. They don't exist as an ordinary person, as an ego, an I, but it's, they're still experiencing things. So it's not right to say that they don't exist or that they exist. Those are the two extremes. But how does one exist? That is, again, the important thing. You can read this chat message from this person relating an experience we had when we were talking about this. Yes, it was very much like similar to that conversation between Sariputta and Kotika. That's right, Frank. And again, that's really the essence of the training. And use this as your homework for next week. To try to see that whenever you catch your mind being attracted to something, ask yourself, where is this attraction coming from? Is it coming from the sound itself? Or is it coming from your ear? Or is it in the mind? That's how we have to reflect. And then using mindfulness, we can, it's not that we're not going to hear or experience anything, no. But it's having the mindfulness to see, do I really want to react to this now? Is this really necessary to scratch an itch, for example, or to react to somebody who says something? That mindfulness is sitting in the middle. And it allows you to have that little space, a buffer zone, where you can then decide whether you're going to react or not. That is where transformation takes place. That's the only place where Dhamma is practiced, right there at that point, really. Okay. Okay, when we see a nice scenery and we like it, is it desire? Yes, it's a desire. I mean, it produces a pleasurable feeling. So it's the pleasurable feeling but it's an innocent desire. Unless you go out and, want to pluck the flower or cut down a tree or whatever you might want to do, react to it. but just to, have some pleasurable feeling. The Buddha said there's nothing wrong with the pleasurable feeling. It's just a feeling. So, okay, you can have it. But if you want to go out to capture it or to cause harm to the object that produced that feeling, then that is when it becomes unskillful. So, sure, there's so many things that produce pleasurable feelings. And that's why people get attached to it, because they crave the pleasurable feeling. They don't know how to remain in the natural pleasant feeling of the present moment. They lost that connection. So when you develop that present moment, body-centered awareness more and more, and the mind is more and more in the middle, then that itself is a very pleasant feeling, because there's no worry or frustration or agitation occurring. And so therefore the need to go out and capture all these pleasurable feelings, that gradually gets less and less. And of course, you also stop reacting to the painful or unpleasant sensations, so that you don't have the need to always be, shooing this away, or, doing all these, nervous system reactions that, cause the nervous system agitation. All right. Okay, friends. So thank you for all those questions. Those are good questions. And again, it comes back to, that's the real practice, is observing that and understanding that and learning how to weaken that bond, which is internally is the accumulated attachment and aversion that we have to any of the objects, even our own thoughts. All right? So let's take a few minutes break and then come back to do a few stretches and then have our meditation. Okay? Okay, friends, try to stand straight. Relax your arms at the sides. Just gently close your eyes. Just try to feel the outline of the standing body. If you can't feel that, just feel your feet pressing the floor. Feel the arms, hands hanging at the side. Feel the head balanced on top. Then begin some deep, slow breathing. Taking 2 or 3 seconds to expand your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Feel the expansion coming up to the upper chest. Hold the air in for 2 or 3 seconds. And slowly breathe out, feeling the last bit of air go out of the lungs. Just take a few more deep, slow breaths like that, developing this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we'll combine this breathing with these movements. Do the movement on the in-breath, holding that position with the air held in the lungs, returning to the starting point on the out-breath, repeating each movement 3 times. So on the next in-breath, raise the arms over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up, stretch your head back, stretch upwards, look at the back of your hands, feel the sensations. The out breath, turn the palms down, touch the top of your head. Again, in breath, palms up, straighten the arms, stretch up, bend back a little bit. Out breath, touch the top of the head. Third time, hold that upward stretch longer. Bend back a little bit. Feel the arch in the lower spine. And release the fingers. Out breath, arms back to the side. Close the eyes. Feel the increased sensation. The clothing touching the skin, or stretch sensations in the finger. Feel the subtle pulsation. Feel the clothing touching the skin. Just remember standing, standing. The present moment of the body, feeling of material vibration, clothing touching the skin, the inner sensations, prickly sensations, itches. Those are all the material vibration. On the next in breath, push up on the toes, raise the arms over the head in this way, stretch up. Out breath, come back down, arms to the sides, heels to the floor. Use the in breath to help lift up the body, like blowing up a helium balloon. Body rises up, stretch. Out breath. In. Stretch. Out breath. Relax, close the eyes. Feel the increased sensations. All those sensations are just the aggregate of material vibrations. Although some of them are painful, that's a painful feeling. Some of them are pleasant sensations, those are pleasant feelings. Just remember standing, sort of hold that outline of the body in the mind's eye. And next we'll do the knee bending. On the next in breath, lift up on the toes, lift the arms up in front for balance. On the out breath, bend the knees and lower down, balancing on the balls of the feet. Come down in the squatting position if you can. And take a deep breath to feel the muscles and the legs pushing the body up. All the way up on the toes. Out breath down. In. Out. And stay down in the squatting position a little longer. And come up on in breath. Out breath, relax. Close the eyes. Feel the outline of the body. Feel all the increased sensations, pulsation, maybe the heart beating. Remember standing, present moment of the body, present moment awareness. Feeling all those material vibrations. Try to get in the habit of recognizing things as just material vibrations, not particular objects as such. Next, we'll do side bendings on the in-breath. Raise both arms up and keep your fingers and arms straight, close to your head. On the out-breath, bend over the right side as far as you comfortably can. Keep the arms and hands parallel to each other like railroad track. In-breath, lift up. And the other side, out-breath. Continue alternating sides with the breathing. Once more to each side. On the out breath, lower the arms. Close the eyes. Feel all the sensations. Clothing touching the skin. Sensations from under the skin. Itchy, prickly sensation. Be aware of the unpleasant sensations. Trigger off. Urge to get rid of it. Notice any pleasant sensation. There's always a mix of pleasant and unpleasant sensations going on in the body, or neutral sensation, material vibration. Okay, now spread the feet apart about 3 feet. Holding the arms out at the side, we'll do twisting from right to left, lateral twisting of the spine. Breathe in. On the out breath, twist to the right. Keep your eyes focused on the hand going back. In breath back to the front. Let the feet turn with the body. And twisting to the other side, out breath. In breath, front. Let's continue alternating sides with the breathing. Out breath. Once more to each side. Lower the arms, relax. Close the eyes. Feel all those material vibrations. Pleasant, painful, or neutral feelings. Feeling is the mental attitude toward the material vibration. There's the desire or the aversion for that feeling, which is the bond. Now place the hands together at the chest. Breathe in, hands over the head. On the out breath, hands to the chest, bend the knees, lower down. In breath up. Out. Feel the sensation, knees and hip. Out breath. Spread your legs a little bit further apart. We'll do the forward and backward bending. Just be careful with the back bends. Don't bend back too far the first time. Let the hands touch the front of the legs. Breathe in. On the out breath, bend forward. Let the hands come to your knees the first time. Keep the head up, looking out straight ahead. Keep the legs straight or flatten the spine, the back, like a tabletop. In breath, lift up. Move the hands under the buttocks for support. Let the head go back and gently bend back on the out breath. Feel the arch in the spine. Be careful. Keep your eyes open. In breath, lift up. On the out breath, again bend forward. Let the hands slide down below the knees, a few inches or more. Still keep the head up, looking out ahead. Feel the extra stretch in the back of the leg. In breath, lift up. Again, hands under the buttocks for support. The out breath, bend back. Careful. Bend back a little more. In breath, lift up. Now the third time, bend forward. Let your hands come down as far as you can towards your ankles or feet. Then hold that position longer. Hold on to your legs, lower legs, your ankles or feet. Feel the extra stretch in the back of the legs. Also the little bones in the lower spine, where the lower spine joins the pelvis, sacrum, bones and lower rest together in most people. And lift up on an in-breath. Once more, the out-breath. Be careful. Back bend. In-breath, lift up. You were very shaking. And then just relax. Close the eyes. Feel all those sensations. Try to feel or imagine all those life force vibrations activated. Try to feel that or imagine that as a healing energy. Pleasant, vibrating sensation. Try to imagine that healing energy permeating, suffusing all the cells of the material body, relaxing, healing, present moment awareness. Now bring the legs and feet closer together. Do just one last exercise, the head turning from right to left. On an in-breath, turn your head to the right as far as you comfortably can. Look over your right shoulder. Turn your eyes further to the right. See something further behind. In the out breath, turn the head 180 degrees back to the left. Look over the left shoulder. In breath back to the right. Concentrate into the neck vertebrae. Feeling or imagining and loosening up. Out breath left. In breath right. Out left. On the in-breath, let the head stop in the center. Keep the eyes closed. Feel the outline of the body. You feel that organic aliveness of the body, millions of cells vibrating, four elemental vibrations, solidity, fluidity, temperature, motion. All of our concepts and thoughts are created out of those basic elementary vibrations. Even a sound vibration, the mind creates an object that you're hearing. The existence is the thought, the idea that you are somebody existing, hearing some object, which is the experience. Okay, friends, so now let us mindfully come back to our seats for the sitting. Okay, friends, try to get comfortable in your sitting posture. Just try to sit straight, align your back and the back of the head in a straight line, so the spinal column is straight. Feel the head balanced on top. Keep the chin level with the floor. Feel the eyes in the socket. Feel the outline of the sitting posture. Feel the head and the face. Feel the sensations on the face. Relax the face muscle. Feel the lips touching together. Feel the shoulders, relax the shoulders. Feel the clothing touching the skin of the shoulder. Feel the arms hanging from the shoulder. Clothing touching the arms. Material vibration. Feel the clothing touching the skin of the chest, the stomach area. The contact, clothing rubbing the skin, producing a sensation, material vibration. Feel your hands and fingers when you touch together, touch your leg. And the contact producing sensation, material vibration. Feel your buttocks pressing the seat, the earth vibration, solid feeling, buttocks pressing the seat. Earth vibration, something feeling solid or hard. Feel the way your knees are bent, legs tucked underneath, feet press the floor. Feel the feet and toes, all those different little sensations. Socks touching the skin, feet pressing the floor, toes touching together. So many material vibrations. Now let the awareness kind of move back up and rest behind on the eyes. Again, just try to feel the outline of the body, the mind's eye, all those different sensations in the head, arms, chest, buttocks, feet. They all form like a collage, the outline of a body, which is a perception. Try to understand that. Just remember sitting, sitting. Then begin some deep, slow breathing again, like we did in the yoga. 2 or 3 seconds to expand the abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in the lungs. 2 or 3 seconds. And try to feel the last bit of air go out to the lungs on the out breath. Just cultivate this basic awareness, taking a few more deep breaths. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Again, we'll try counting our breaths from 1 to 10. Try to make it to the count of 10 without the mind getting lost in distraction. So I'll do the counting for you. Just try to follow that in your breathing and mind. So with the next expanding in breath, mentally count to 1. Hold the breath in for 1 or 2 seconds. And contracting out breath, also count 1. Letting the last bit of air go out. Next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In 3. Out 3. In 4. Out 4. In 5. Out 5. In 6. Out 6. in 7, out 7, in 8, out 8, in 9, out 9, in 10, out 10. Now discontinue the counting. Let the breathing return to its uncontrolled or shorter, irregular rhythm. Continue to feel it, to observe the movement of the breathing. Keep the attention focused in the center of the body. Feel those residual expanding and contracting sensations. Especially try to notice where the clothing is rubbing against the skin of the stomach, rib cage, and chest, producing the contact sensation that you then perceive as breathing in or breathing out. And the idea of breathing in or out is the perception, mental image or thought. Just knowing when the breath is coming in and knowing when the breath is going out. And knowing is the awareness. The alert, awake awareness. Just tune in to the 4 phases of each breath cycle. Expanding in breath and the brief pause. Contracting out the breath and the brief pause. Noticing the pauses helps to keep the mind awake, alert. During those pauses, feel the outline of the body. Just keep remembering in, sitting, out, sitting. The ongoing, continuous, connection to the present moment. This breathing body is the natural connection with consciousness in the present moment. Breathing body is the anchor to the present moment. In sitting, out, sitting, breath by breath, moment by moment, developing concentrated mindfulness. Letting go of the thought. Just let the thoughts come and go in the back of the awareness. Keep the sensations of the breathing body in the front of the awareness. The sensations of breathing are always changing. Sometimes the breath is longer, sometimes shorter. Sometimes you feel it in the abdomen, sometimes you feel it in the rib cage, chest. It's always changing. Especially with each out breath, feel that last bit of air go out of the lungs, and that brief pause. And the next in breath, if you're aware of the pauses between the breaths, you'll be aware of the next in or out breath. It's the way you develop concentration, connecting the breaths to the pausing. Still too many thoughts. Come back and take a few deep, slow breaths. Help the mind stay anchored in the body. Try to understand and all those material vibrations, just material vibration, first aggregate. Even if there's sounds, if there's sounds, there's also sound vibration, material vibration. Be alert for any attraction or aversion. Beware of any pleasant or unpleasant sensation. There's that sense of I or me there in the mind, that's the existing. the actual vibration is the experience. Try to understand that I can notice more and finer detailed sensations coming and going. Breathing is there in the middle, and all around it other sensations rising and vanishing. The sounds are rising and vanishing, triggering off feelings, thoughts, perception. Breathing in, sitting. Breathing out, sitting. So many different sensations come and go. Pleasure and pain come and go. Sounds come and go. Perceptions, thoughts, reactions come and go. Thoughts of I, me, and mine come and go. These are all just a continuous flow and change of the five aggregates in the nature of impermanence, coming and going according to the past accumulated karma. Just underneath all of that change, pain, mental chaos, it's the parallel dimension, present moment, awareness. Beyond existence and non-existence. Where feelings, perceptions arise based on that sound vibration. Sabhi sankara anicchati yada panyaya pasati Atanibindati dukkhi yesamago visuddhiya dukkha pattacha nidukkha bhayapattacha nibbaya Sokapattacha nisokha ontu sabbe pipanino. All conditioned things, the five aggregates of this body, mind, and world are impermanent. They arise only to briefly last, then vanish. When one sees this with the eye of wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with self-created suffering. This is the path of freedom. There's no may the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. In this way may all beings live with mindfulness and wisdom. Thus spoke the Buddha. I invite you to join in chanting the word sadhu 3 times, chanting very slowly on a long out breath, feeling those vibrations, body and mind, on a long out breath. Let's take a deep breath. Place the hands at the edge of the knees. One more deep breath. The in-breath, stretch your head back, pull the hands on the knees to arch your spine. Lift the head up on an in-breath, on the out-breath, press the chin to the top of the chest, stretch the neck vertebra. Lift the chin up level on an in-breath. Relax on an out-breath, put a smile on your face. Okay, friends, so hope that you're able to have at least some moments or minutes of some good awareness, get some insights into the nature of material vibration, feeling, perception, get a little glimpse present moment awareness. Okay, so again, as I mentioned before, during this next week, try to pay attention to the senses and the objects coming through our senses, the mind's reaction, how it's the mind that creates bondage between the objects, not the objects themselves. Okay. Be well, safe, and mindful. Mindfulness a day keeps dukkha away. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante. Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Namo Buddhaya.
Bhante. That picture that you had on the email, it was just awesome with the moon, the great moon, and
It was.
the great yoga vajra.
That wasn't Photoshop.
Thank you,
Real.
Bhante. Thank you, everyone. Everyone have a good night.
Yes.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Very well.